Why wait? Without much delay, let's move on to our much-awaited segment called Chit Chat with Manoj. The host is the prominent CEO of Caesar Productions, Mr. Manoj Singh. As we speak, Caesar Productions is featuring various films at the DC SAF Film Festival this weekend. Taking a step away from this festival, we shall move on to an Arlington County-based captain, Kamran Afzal, from the police service. This captain is the chief guest on this episode of Chit Chat with Manoj. Let's meet him closely.
Welcome to Chit Chat with Manoj. I'm Manoj Singh. Hello, Adab, Namaste. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic, police service. And joining me for this discussion today is Captain Kamran Afzal, and he's with the Arlington Police Department. He came to US in 1982, graduated from Robert E. Lee High School in Springfield, Virginia, completed his bachelor's degree in economics from George Mason University, and has a master's in public administration. You know, I have great respect for people who are in uniform, whether it's police, whether it's the defense services, or it's the fire brigade. They have such a tough task in hand, and I really appreciate, Captain Kamran, that you made time to come and talk to us.
Thank you thanks for having me.
So please tell us in the beginning about yourself, where you grew up, your education, and what's your background.
Originally from Pakistan, grew up all over the place in Pakistan. My father was a naval officer, so we moved around quite a bit. When we got here, I grew up in Springfield, Virginia area, and then moved to Woodbridge, and finally to actually Gainesville for a little while, and then in Arlington.
Very nice. So when did you develop did you have the idea or thought, okay, I should join the police service?
It wasn't actually until a little bit after college. I was thinking I wanted to be a banker, and I think one day I saw an ad for being a police officer for Prince William County, and that got my interest. I didn't get hired by them, but ultimately got hired by U.S. Capitol Police, and then about a year and a half later I left them to be with Arlington. It's been over 23 years now.
Very good. What is like a typical day for you? I'm pretty sure that the 2 days are not the same. You get up and what happens?
Well, it's kind of like it's boring for now at this point, because I'm a commander of a community policing team. I'm also a section commander for school resource officers. So my job is predominantly being in the office and doing office work and attending meetings with the people that we serve, and then at times with schools. So a typical day for me at this point is I come to work, I get all the reports that had occurred the night before in the area that I oversee, and I look for patterns. And if I see something, I'll go talk to my detectives to see if it's more than if it's just my area, if it's beyond my area, or there are other two district captains also. So we will speak. Every Tuesday we meet. We talk about things that are happening, and if it's something that needs to do, there has to be follow up. Then I will actually contact my community policing team and tell them that, hey, there's an issue that we need to kind of put our heads together and address it. I also, because I'm the face for the department, or all three captains are face of the department with our segment of our area. So I meet with them either through civic association meetings, through business alliance meetings. So my day is pretty much spent either in front of in office, looking at reports, figuring out patterns, contacting our constituents and seeing what affects them, and trying to address problems that might be a little bit more long-term in nature, to make sure they don't reoccur.
It's more of investigative service or background work.
Yeah, it's community policing at its core, which is if it's an important issue for the community at large, we try to address it. At times we will bring other services from the county in to address the issue, because it might not be a police issue, but have been doing this kind of work since the 1980s. So we are pretty progressive in how we do policing, and I think that has helped us quite a bit. Our crime rate is extremely low. Every year we talk about that can be lower, and it does get lower. So we're proud of the efforts that our officers make day in, day out.
Very nice. So one of the things, I mean, you've been noticing in the news also with the elections and what's going on, the dynamics of the whole change in U.S., the growing minority population, and right now it's being quite talked about in the news and all. Has the police department kept up with the representatives from different communities, because there's a language barrier or the cultural issues which police should understand?
Well, that's my job, and the other two captains. That is our job at with the tip of the spear, to so to speak, to go and make sure that the communities that are not well represented, or there are minority communities or immigrant communities, that we do go and talk to them to make sure that they understand that we're here to serve them, not the other way around. That it's a long tradition in Arlington that we've had long before I came into Arlington, and my job is to continue that. So we have those conversations all the time, especially with what's going on in the around the nation, where there is some question about people have questioned the legitimacy of the police departments, and we work hard to maintain our legitimacy.
So, you know, since we come from South Asian countries, we are a little bit reserved and think twice before talking to police. But what would you tell the South Asian community, that how can we help you, or so that it works good for both of us, for you and the community?
Yeah, I mean, we have to recognize that the police officers are nothing more than people, right? We have families, we have kids, we have the same issues everybody else has. So really, the policing in this area is very, very different. I'm very proud of this area, Northern Virginia, DC area. So I say, you know, don't be afraid. Go up, talk to us. If we see you coming, we'll come and talk to you. We want to understand what makes everybody tick, because we are different, and you know, that's okay. But you know, our job is, I mean, as from a purely constitutional perspective, I mean, we're not supposed to see any color, any religious background. We are here to serve the people who we're here to protect.
Yeah, from my perspective, at least what I know from the news and my little experience, maybe getting a ticket or something, or going to court for a ticket, I personally really feel this is a very fair system, very honest, very fair system. I really respect your service.
Thank you.
What are some of the challenges for you?
Challenges for us are many. You know, recruiting, retention is a big issue for us. Making sure that our departments represent the community that we serve. You know, this area is very diverse, and as you know, that at times, especially South Asian community, the people community that, you know, we come from, and being policing is not the number one area where our parents push us. So it's usually IT, be a doctor, be an entrepreneur. It's not necessarily be a police officer.
Right.
So it's a challenge for us to kind of recruit, and it's our community is the Asian community as a whole, which is they don't look towards this particular profession as a profession of choice. And I will tell you that if you were to choose this profession, it is extremely satisfying, because you're there to protect people and serve people, and it has been extremely satisfying to me in the last almost 25 years. Other challenges are the legitimacy issue, right? I mean, the things that are going around, making sure that people understand that, you know, when things do happen, they don't represent the overall majority of the people who do the work in policing. Sometimes, and to be honest, at times, other people make judgments about what really happened, and we know that a lot of decisions are made in split seconds. And there are people who will then talk about them for hours and hours and hours and days and days.
Analyze it to death.
Analyze it to death.
TV and all.
But we know that we have to do better, and I can tell you from our perspective in this area, we are always looking at ourselves and saying, how can we do better? How can we be transparent, be consistent on a day in, day out basis, so the people that we serve realize that this is what to expect from a police officer in Arlington, for me, or in this area.
You touched upon the South Asian culture. I know a typical mindset of the first generation immigration is doctors, lawyers, IT and all. But hopefully the second generation will come forward and join not only the police service. I see the same thing in defense services, Navy, Army, Air Force, or even fire department, and a little bit more patriotic patriotic and not be afraid of serving.
Yeah, absolutely. We're part of this community. We have called this our home. So I actually have a cousin who's a major in the U.S. Army, so I'm very proud of him. My brother served in the Army for a few years. So yeah, I mean, this is our country. So we should be extremely proud of that and serve in however we can.
Yes, and I love this country. Everything I have, I own, I've done, I've gone about is because of this country. What are some of the benefits you feel good, you feel when you end of the day or when your year has gone by and you reflect upon it?
Well, obviously, you feel when somebody feels that you made a difference in their life. And it's different ways. I mean, at times it was us working with our partners in environmental services to get rid of rats in a creek. That made a difference. At other times it was locking somebody up who had violated a child, locking them up for life. That made a difference. So it runs a whole wide a range of things that you do. It's amazing that when you get something accomplished, at times it might be, well, it's not a big deal, but it made somebody's life better. And that's what I will say, the overwhelming majority of police officers, that's what we live for.
Very nice, very nice. Thanks, Kamran. Now, I noticed in your bio that you were also commander of a SWAT team. Now, SWAT team we see is in the movies or TV,
Right.
but it's a very dangerous job, and you call in for a rescue or something, and
Right.
like you said, split second decisions. Right. How do you feel like being in the SWAT team?
Well, it's a lot of responsibility, especially I'm not, my role would be at the command level, making decisions to send somebody in, not send in, looking at when to call the SWAT team, because there definitely has been court cases where if you called them in a situation where it wasn't warranted, it doesn't really matter what the outcome was, whether it was good or bad. Even if it was good, it could come back to hurt you, saying that it was too much force that you used, even though nothing happened. So those are decisions that you have to take. So there's a lot of responsibility on the shoulder of the commander. Now, the officers who actually are on the team who are doing the work, yeah, they are definitely taking a much higher risk going in. Again, it was satisfying. It was part of my assignment at that time. I got to do some very neat stuff in training. Because I was not an operator. The operator is somebody who's officer level who was on the SWAT team selected. I didn't do that, so I came in as a commander, so I had to get some training. Again, a rewarding experience. It ranged from doing search warrants to do a lot of security events that we have. Especially after 9/11, we kind of started looking at things a little differently. When the Marine Corps Marathon happens, that happens in Arlington, so. As part of my responsibility is to come up with a plan for that and also for a security plan. So it runs a whole wide array of things, and it like every job I've ever had in Arlington County, it was extremely satisfying.
So is it like in my profession, for example, we have to maintain every 3 years certain credits because I'm a PMP, project manager certification. So is it in police also that you have to keep up with the technology and training, or is it by nature in your job, or you have to maintain, do you have a certification or something?
Yeah, so a couple of different things. One is the nature of the job is such that if you don't continue education, you're going to be left behind as a department. So we are extremely focused on our training and the well-being of our officers. Virginia also has a requirement that every 2 years you have to have 40 hours of training in different subjects. There are a couple of things that are mandated. One is there has to be 2 hours of legal training, has to be 2 hours of cultural diversity training, plus there has to be 8 hours of firearms training. So after that, it really depends on your assignment where you are, what course you're going to take. They have to be certified by DCGS, which is Department of Criminal Justice in Virginia. And depending on the assignment, if you're a detective, you will be taking classes that will make you a better investigator. If you're a patrol officer, you'll be taking classes that hopefully will make you better patrol officers. For us, I have school resource officers, so they will take courses that will make them better teachers, because that's what they do. So it all depends on your assignment.
Talking about training, and I guess your mind is so, you already know, for us, a call comes in, and we look at from that is very, must be challenging or dangerous situations every time you stop someone in the dark for a ticket, or even in a call like 9/11 when all these people went in. But I guess you are trained for that, so nothing, the training helps, and that you already know what's going on in your mind or what to do.
Yeah, I mean, mostly, I mean, they're always, for the first time when you handle something that you haven't handled, it takes a moment to get there. But after you've been there for a little while, it does become automatic. But that doesn't mean that we put our guard down. You do have to, you do realize there are people who are there, they're trying to take advantage of others. So you have to be careful. I mean, the kind of work that we do, it is dangerous. We do lose people every year, unfortunately, in line of duty. So a lot of it is instinctive because we've been trained. A lot of it is acquired because we learn things from things that have already happened. So we do after every major incident, we will do an after action. What did we do right? What could we have done better, and learn from that? And and that's part of police culture.
That's good. As a last minute message to the community, would you like to say something to our South Asian community members and friends and family?
Oh, I would like to say that it's a great profession to join. So if you're thinking about a career option, it really at its core is community service. I wouldn't look at it as police service. I don't. It's serving the people that that we protect, and great profession to join in, great benefits, decent salary. So if you're thinking about it, join your local department.
Thank you, Kamran, again, and thank you for coming on the studio, and thank you for your service. I deeply respect that.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
a lot. Time to end the show. Like I always say, life is short, have fun, and have no regrets.